All right, guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So today we're going to take a look at our no-touch composting bins. We load them up, we leave them alone, we don't do anything else to them. Now, the reason why I'm looking at doing this is because I need to put some compost on our blackberry beds. They become very barren and run down. Now, I'm not going to bother to sift them because I'm also going to use it like a mulching layer and just let it go the entire winter, breaking down through the fall, winter, and spring to feed the plants. So let's go take a look. So we have this bed that's still producing some raspberries, but it needs topped off and some weed barrier. And then as we come around the side here, you're really going to see what I mean. Look at that. That is all shrunk down and broke down over the years. That was all healed up. But now, as you can see, it's all broke down and just the big chunks are left. So we need to top this whole bed off all the way down and possibly some down that raspberry bed. All right, guys, as you can see, these are just our passive beds that we made. This was actually a triple bin I made out of pallets. I did a video on it. And then down there, we just put together some other stuff. These are all just temporary. We're going to be building a huge tractor flip one in the future. But basically, we fill them completely up, let them sit, don't even touch them. And then they break down to about half or a third, and that's how you know when they're ready to use. Now, these have been going for about a year. These are the new ones we're building out for next year. So let's dig into the ones here, because we already have plants actually trying to grow and weeds trying to grow out of the top. Let's dig in here and let me show you what a year of no touching compost can do. Hello, little guy. What are you doing? All right, so let's take a look here. We got 3 bins that have broken down pretty good. Overall, we got some poison ivy going on back there, so that's not good, but it's breaking down all right. Now, when you do it this way, you will have to rip the top layer and push it over into another bin, because what you want will be a few inches down. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use the one that's broke down the farthest. The first thing I'm going to do is pull those weeds off and throw them over there. They'll get composted up. It'll be fine. But as you can see, it doesn't take anything to get them out. They're just growing on the top. But if we take this and we start pulling, then what I want to show you is that. Now, what we have here is a mixture of grass clippings mostly, some wood chips, coffee grounds, and then a little bit of manure. My neighbor had some goat and chicken manure he brought over. We chopped it up and put it in there. But as you get down in here, and mind you, it just rained, so it's pretty damp. The farther you go down in, the better it's going to be. Now you'll see a lot of stuff like sticks like that. That's because the wood chips that get brought in here are not chipped down that finely. But that helps hold air and lets things kind of settle better. That's why we usually screen it. But because I don't really care about whether it becomes like a mulch, because this longer stuff will become a mulch on top. And the inside stuff, that will turn into more like a regular compost and break down. Now, as we move it around, kind of want to bring it up to you so you guys can see it. Because of the manure content, and while it is kind of sticky right now because it just poured down rain for like 3 days, look at the worms. You see the worms in there? This stuff is full of life, guys. There's another one right there. Look at that. See them little guys? They are just brimming full of this stuff. I'm going to put them back in because obviously I want them in there. But, come here, buddy. He's like, I'm hiding. Leave me alone. You want life in your compost. That's the number one thing. Now he's real young. He just hatched out. I'm sure the big boys took off running the moment I started moving stuff around. But this stuff is going to be amazing as a fertilizer for next year. And it's also going to keep the weeds at bay, which is my main thing. Because when you get down into this, what's going to happen is all these big sticks are going to become your mulch for next year. Just that simple. All this stuff, as the rest breaks down and washes down, will be left on top. And that kind of helps block weeds and stuff. That's what you want. So once all that's gone, though, you end up with that, which is just nice, fluffy. I mean, look at that. Just fluffy leaf matter, just goodness. And as you let it get rained on, this will all break down even more. Now, is there rocks and other impurities in there? Yep, there's a rock right there. All right. But really, anything in your soil that makes it so it doesn't clump is good. So even rocks, some small gravel is good. I don't think you guys really can pick it up on camera how fluffy this stuff is. I mean, it's super fluffy. Just falls apart in your hand. Obviously, look, there's some more worms. Hi, buddy. Yeah, a lot of young worms in this. Holy cow. Just some young guys. They're just like, hey, we new here. This stuff is going to make those blackberries go crazy. It is a very, how shall we say, chunky mix. All right, so if you didn't want a chunky mix, you could use a screener like this to screen it out. Or if you can find some of these are things like 2-liter bottles come in and other stuff. This could be a big chunk. So if you want to put it in and just take out all the big chunks, this would be really good and a lot faster. The screener is smaller, so you get better, smaller pieces, but this will get you more faster. So I'll give you a quick show what I mean. Obviously, in a perfect world, we'd be letting this dry out some more than it is, but you guys will get the picture. Oh, look at the worms. Hi, buddy. So if I take this, and what comes out is a very small, very fluffy compost. Screened out, it's so small now, that'll break down into true minimal plant feed in no time flat. But if you do it this way, the problem is you have to do it more often because it actually shuts down the composting factor because there's nothing more to break down. We want long-term breakdown in those beds. So having a mulching layer that breaks down slowly is actually good. Now, if you wanted to go with a bigger mix but not so many sticks and stuff, which would be fine, you could take something like this and you just throw a couple handfuls in, just like that. And then we'll take our other one and lay it under it. That way you guys can see what comes out a little better. And you just go like that. Now this is going to be a lot faster, but you're going to have bigger particulates. That's what you need to understand. And if you lay it down, a lot of this stuff will end up drying out and go through. Obviously, like I said, it just rained. Not exactly the best time to be screening it. But you can put all that in your other composter. And then what you end up with is a nice medium mix. Look at that. And this stuff is, look at that, fluffy, but yet can hold together. That's perfect moisture. So as far as what the plants want, that's perfect. It's not great to sift. The drier it is, the better it is to sift. But at the same time, drying your compost out too much is kind of bad because it's hard on the life in it. But when you can go like that and it becomes a ball, but yet it won't really hold together because it's so fluffy, that's perfect compost, guys. Now, you can call this dirty compost, you can call this whatever you want. But the reality is, in a year, you just throw it in here. I basically tried to alternate. I'd do mow a section of yard, throw a bag of grass clippings in, throw in some chips, throw in some manure every couple loads, throw in coffee grounds whenever I had them, and just leave it alone. It does have a little bit of trees above it. That kind of offsets some of the water. If it starts to get too wet, I have metal behind there I can pull up on here, but I've never really had to. The winter time, I usually like to cover these up and then put a piece of cardboard actually on top of them. That just helps keep it warm, helps them do their job. But we'll break these 3 bins down and use them throughout the fall to reset everything. So now, as you can see, we have a 3-bin supply of this compost. Now, top dressing with an inch or 2, that's going to really give you a nice layer for next year. Since we're doing it all chunky like this, I'll probably do 3 or 4 inches per bed. That gives it time to break down. It also hills it up a little bit to allow the plants to hold some moisture and also protect the plants, because I think we're going to have a little bit of a heavy winter this year and the temperatures are going to get pretty low. So the more they have to insulate their root structure, the better they'll do. Even though they go dormant, it still will help them. We have lost strawberries to freezes, even with completely covering them, but a 3 or 4 inch layer of compost over them, the crowns can pop the next year and they generally don't freeze to death. Now, this is not hard, guys, and you can have a nice quality product that will do amazing things. If you've got bad spots in your yard, like you'll notice this area here starting to get kind of crabby, you can even just, as simple as that. All right, that is all it takes. Do not make compost harder than it needs to be. You have all these people trying to sell you products and stuff, trying to tell you to turn it all the time. If you're in a hurry, fine, turn it. But it's usually better just to do 3 of those, and while you're mowing through the year, throw your grass clippings on, if nothing else. If you don't have chips, some coffee, some grass clippings, some leaves that you chop up, put them in there, stack them up, make it as high as possible. That way it can go down. As long as it's about 3 by 3 or 4 by 4, that pile is going to stay warm and it's going to go. Throw a piece of cardboard over it in the winter and don't worry about it. I mean, literally, don't worry about it. This is as easy as it gets. Now, you probably should not leave a bunch of coffee cans from where you dump coffee out here, because your guys' wives or your guys' husbands probably wouldn't like it. Mine is pretty cool about it, but I'm still hearing about it. So I will be cleaning up this mess. But look at this. This is basically trash. And we're creating fertilizers, which I've showed you guys before, will outdo Miracle-Gro or anything else. And it's free. People complain about fertilizers and stuff and how expensive they are. You don't have to pay all that money, guys. So with that said, and if you haven't already, I don't know why you wouldn't have by now. Come on, guys, go down, click subscribe, join the family. Make sure you go down and hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos. Make sure you drop us a like. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think. Are you composting? How do you do it? I'd love to see it. If you've got videos on it, tag me up down in there. Put them down in the comments so we can all see how you do it. And I will see you in the next one. It's a good day to get dirty. A good day to get dirty.